All right. It says that it's live, which I believe means that it's live. My name is Ada. I'm so excited to have you here at this webinar. You can see I'm going to give you a little preview of coming attractions. There's Laura. Laura, you can wave to everybody.
Hi.
So Laura is our esteemed guest today, and I'm so excited to introduce you to this webinar where we are going to, or specifically Laura is going to be teaching all of us how to write a site that sells and compels, because let's be honest, what's the point of doing all this hard work to make a beautiful site and develop it and design it if the content on that site isn't good and isn't going to attract anyone to your website? So Laura is a professional copywriter. And this is something that I didn't even know was a job you could have as when I was growing up, but it's actually a really amazing job where you get to work on a whole bunch of really interesting projects, and Laura will talk more about that. But so she is an expert at really teaching companies and organizations to speak in the way that we, or to write in the way that we speak to one another. So she has worked with entrepreneurs like Marie Forleo, Mastin Kipp. She has done a ton of TV writing for little-known television stations and broadcast channels like Bravo, NBC, HBO, Nickelodeon, VH1, Lifetime, The CW, and more. She's also the creator of a class that is yet to be launched, but hopefully she'll give us a little bit of a sense of when it's coming, which is called the Copy Cure, which is actually a collaboration between her and Marie. And in this webinar, she's actually going to give us a little bit of a sneak peek of what all she's going to be teaching in that class. And also will be telling us where we can find out more information. Sign up to be the first to know when that launches. And I think, if I can just speak a little bit about how I learned about Laura. Laura was one of those people who I was a big fan of way before I knew her name. So I had one of those experiences where I, was aware of these different kind of people who are on the internet who were writing these excellent emails, and I was signing up for their newsletters and reading all their copy and just loving what they were doing. And then I felt like at one point I kind of discovered the dirty secret of all of them, which is that they all worked with Laura to help develop their content. So in today's webinar, you are going to learn why the words on your site are important and are more important than the beautiful design. And this is not to say that beautiful design isn't important, because as you'll see with Laura's beautiful site, beautiful design is definitely important, but it's even more important, especially when you're getting started, to have words that really connect with your user. We're going to talk about what to include on your homepage to make people stick around on your site, and hopefully, if this is the purpose of your site, give you money. We all need to make a little bit of that. We're going to talk about tips for writing like an actual flesh and blood human and not a robot or an infomercial. So I think that when it comes especially to selling, and if you're new to marketing and selling, it can be really scary, and you sort of start to worry that you're gonna end up as a cheesy infomercial on a website. And Laura will talk about how to write copy that does the job that you need to do, which is to sell to your customers, but does it in a way that does not come off as cheesy and super salesy. And then she's going to talk about proven writing techniques for creating compelling, non-sucky, money-making copy. So I'm really excited. I'm going to be writing lots of notes as I'm listening. So just a couple of housekeeping notes, which is that we have the Q&A module enabled, and it's a little bit hard to find in the new Google Hangout interface, but at the top, and I believe it should be right above my finger, I hope, or if not that one, it'll be this one. There is a little 9 square box, and if you click on that, you can actually click the Q&A module, and then you will see it on the right hand of your screen, and you'll actually be able to submit a question. So we're going to do questions at the end of the webinar, so please feel free to drop us a note there, and we will get to it. You can also tweet at us at SkillCrush, and you can also tweet at Laura at Laura Balgray. If you ask a question on Twitter, or we'll make sure to capture that and make sure that Laura addresses it. So I think with that, I will hand it over to Laura, and she will take us away on our fantastic adventure into the land of copywriting.
Oh my gosh, are we going on a magic carpet ride?
I hope so.
I'll do my best. Okay, so let me go through a little bit of what you're going to learn right now. I am going to tell you why words are everything when it comes to your business, one thing you must, many, many must know in order to write a site that sells and compels. 3 elements of a homepage that gets visitors to stick around and give you money or whatever you're asking for. Maybe you're asking for attention. Maybe you're asking for sex. Whatever you're asking for, it should give you that. And okay, I forgot I said sex. We're not doing that today. 3 biggest pitfalls of newbie copywriters and how to avoid or undo them. So I will get right into it with why words are everything when it comes to your business. And I'm going to illustrate this with a little story that some of you might have heard. It was in the Times at some point, and it's been around the web, and so I believe it. And it is about diamonds. Now, we all take it for granted that, a woman wants a diamond ring on her finger. We all say, I don't see a rock on here. I mean, I have one.
Let's be honest.
But yeah, let's be honest. I have one. I wanted one. I actually was not a diamond kind of girl until I saw one. But until the mid 20th century, around 1947, the diamond engagement rings were not a thing. Women didn't want a diamond. They didn't want their man to spend money on that. They wanted a car or a washing machine. Very romantic, right? And there was actually a glut of diamonds on the market. And the company De Beers had to create some sort of they wanted to create some heat around diamonds and make people want them. So they had a copywriter come up with the line. And that line was, "A diamond is forever." And I'm sure you've all heard it, right? And that line caught on and put it in people's heads that if you wanted everlasting love and commitment, you had to have a diamond. A diamond is forever means your marriage is going to last forever. And once that took off, everybody had to have a diamond, and that's still going today. And now it's in a lot of men's heads, at least in America, that they have to spend an entire month's salary on a diamond ring, and they got to put ice on that finger. So that's the power. Yeah, go jump in.
I was gonna say, let me show you. Can I show you my engagement ring?
Oh yes, please.
I
got no ice.
Yeah, I used to be like, it was huge, but it fell out.
That's like 10 carats you got.
Yeah,
got there.
Really big.
Yeah,
it was more than a month's salary, but
like a skating rink.
But
so anyway, so that's the power of words. To make people spend a whole month's salary on a rock for their, for somebody's finger, really goes a long way to show you how powerful words are. And basically, they're the basis of our communication, right? Like, unless you're a mime, and this is I'm in a box. That's all I know how to do. Unless you're a mime or you communicate through interpretive dance or emoji, sushi roll. We use words, and they're your most essential tool to communicate what you do, why you're different, and why you're worth listening to or giving money to. So, the right words make people say, "Oh my God, someone must have been tapping my phone or reading my mind, because this is speaking exactly to me." That's the effect we want to have. We want the person to say, "How did you get into my head?" And that's what our words can do if we use the right ones. So if you have ever gone to a website or opened an email and felt like, "Oh my God, this is speaking exactly to me," that's thanks to the words. And that's the effect that you can have with yours. So I'm going to show you how you can start to do that.
Yeah, I think, for myself personally, like, one of my biggest surprises as a business owner was, and even as a coder, but especially as somebody who's starting a website online, was how much of my job has actually been writing. Like, yes. I would have thought, like, it would be like spreadsheets or, or coding or whatever, and those are definitely aspects of it, but I mean, huge. I can't even begin to fathom, like, the amount of time that's gone into thinking about writing. And
well, writing goes into just about everything we do for business, whether it's our website, the emails we send. I mean, whether we're sending an email to a whole list or just to somebody saying like, hey, I need a raise. The words you use to do that are really important. And, either they're going to fly or they're going to flop. So
yeah,
you want to choose them carefully and get really good at using them and getting into the head of the person on the other side. And so that brings me to the one thing that you must know in order to write a site that sells and compels. And this is going to make the difference between crickets on your site and hordes of fans. So, you ready?
I'm ready. I don't know.
Okay.
Am I ready? I'm ready.
The one thing you have to know is who you're talking to. So that is the one thing, the who. You've probably heard about creating an ideal client avatar. I don't know if you talk about that here at Skill Crush, but we hear about it a lot if we've started learning about online business.
Yeah.
We hear it a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it comes into play with development, especially with user experience, because you have to think about who is the user, like what does the design look like, what is that, it affects every aspect of the process. So.
Yeah, what frame of mind are they in when they come to visit you? So, and a lot of people get freaked out about this because they say, why do I have to do this? What if I choose one person, am I going to leave everybody else out? I hate this exercise. I want to kill myself. I want to quit. It can be pretty hard. You got to relax about it. First of all, you're not going to leave everybody out. You're just going to be way more attractive to the people who you are meant to do business with. If you focus on one person, what you're doing is it helps you picture a person in front of you, which helps you write more naturally and more empathetically. And it helps you get in the frame of mind so that you can speak directly to somebody's needs and wants and dreams. And here's the deal. Who you're talking to has always made a difference, not just in business, but also in life, right? Because, for instance, say I'm trying to talk my friends into coming to a party with me because I don't want to go alone. So if I'm talking to my friend Doug, I'm making up that name, and he's a total lady hound, which is a polite way for saying something else, I will say to Doug, there's going to be tons of honey dips there. Because he's always talking about, I want to meet some honey dips, and are there going to be any honey dips? So I tell him the party's going to be full of honey dips, and he'll probably come with me.
Yeah.
But if I'm talking to another friend, Allie, who's cheap and always looking for a free meal, basically it's just me, I'll say there's going to be a sushi bar. It's all you can eat, and there will be doggy bags so you can take some home and keep it in the fridge for tomorrow night's dinner. And then she'll come to the party, So it's the same party, but I have different ways of talking about it depending who I'm talking to. That makes sense?
It does make sense. I think I have a follow-up question, but I don't want to...
Okay. All right. So
we'll get to it later.
Okay. Don't forget it.
Okay.
So just getting into the head of the person you're selling to or talking to is key for your business success. And I'm going to give you an example right now of how well this works. So I'm going to screen share with you. Let's find my friend Licia Morelli. Okay. Do you see her site? Is it up? Oh no. Okay. I stopped hearing you. Oh wait, I know what I did. I think I clicked the problem here. Ada, can you hear me? I can't hear you right now.
It's me. I went on mute for some reason, but I'm here.
Okay, now can you hear me still?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. We've solved that. So, Licia, I met in the forum for B-School. You may have heard of B-School. It's a great program that helps you market your business online, among other things. And I saw her in the forum asking about copywriting. And I always look for questions about that so I can help people out. And she's a psychic. and she wanted to know basically why the copy, whether it was the copy on her site or something else, what was the reason people were not buying. And so I took a look, and I wrote back to her, and I was like, hey, this copy doesn't speak to me, but I'm probably not your ideal client because I'm a total skeptic. I'm not woo-woo type. I'm not into that stuff. I'd love to believe in psychics, but they kind of, I'd kind of feel like a sucker if I went to one. So, take this all with a grain of salt because I'm not your ideal client. And she wrote back to me and said, you are exactly my ideal client. That's the kind of person I want to serve because I love skeptics and they love me, and I'm totally normal, and I'm not what you'd expect in a psychic. So she hired me. We worked together on the copy on her site, and I'll show you some of the things we did with that person in mind. So, here it tells you who she is, Licia Morelli. She's a psychic, speaker, and coach. And we came up with a tagline, which is where the woo-woo comes true woo, which is completely ridiculous and silly, and that's the intention, because we want to make a statement for her that says, hey, I don't take this stuff so seriously. I'm a normal person. I speak your language. I know this stuff is woo-woo, and I know you think of it as woo-woo, and I'm okay with that, and I don't mind joking about it, and in fact, I embrace it. Okay, so we have her tagline there. We have an opt-in that says, who me, psychic, 3-step beginner's guide to getting your intuition on. And that's maybe for someone who's a little more into it, but still, isn't a huge believer, isn't already like, we are all psychic, I'm in touch with my intuition, blah, blah. And then down here, she's calling out to the skeptics. And she says, skeptic, click here. And, oh, no, here's the most important line. I'm going to start with this. Have a look around and rest assured this won't be a kook fest and you're not a sucker or wackadoodle for being here. So she's making sure you know that she knows you're afraid of being seen as a sucker or a wackadoodle. And this is a place for normal people. Later in her site, like on her About page and her services page, she assures you, I'm not wearing a turban. The thing people say to me most is, but you're so normal. She says, like, this is a wind chime free zone. So we did everything possible to answer the objections of the person who's coming here, because we know that person is full of objections about going to a psychic. But secretly, that person, like me, wants to believe that it's true. And that's where the woo-woo comes true woo comes in. We want to believe it's real, so we'll take a chance on it.
I love also this line at the bottom, all the way at the bottom if you scroll down, that says, or sorry, not that far down, that says, just wait till you see what I see.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Wait till you see what I see. There it is. Wait till you see what I see. Yeah, it's another thing. It's like, assuring you, I'm the real deal. I really do see your future, and you want to too.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like it's like very funny and cheeky, but it also speaks to exactly what the value prop. You know what I mean? Like what I am hoping to get out of this.
Right, exactly. And there's a ton in here about how she's the real deal and reassuring them, the person who really does not want to tell her husband that she spent money on a psychic, that she's going to get her money's worth, and she's not going to feel like a fool even in her like secret shame place, because that counts too, even if nobody knows she came here.
Yeah.
All right, so let me get off of there. Okay. Sorry.
So if I can answer your question about that, it sounds like, in this instance, this was actually like a really natural fit for you to write this copy because you were actually the ideal client.
Yes.
How do you deal with situations where you're not the ideal client?
I make a big effort to dig in with my client and the person that I'm writing the copy for and get into the head of the person they are speaking to. So I try to do just that. There are some people that I'm really not a fit for. If you are super airy-fairy and love phrases like step into your abundance and
I love
God
that.
is
I mean, I don't love that. I'm not like that, but it cracks me up. Like it's a thing.
it is a thing. It's my
Yeah.
favorite pet peeve phrase because to me it sounds like you stepped in poop. And I always like, what does that mean? But it means something to some people.
It
I
does.
just don't like. I just don't like to get into that. And if someone's like wearing caftans and hugging a tree and
I have
talking a
seen
lot
all of those
about
things on websites.
exactly a
Yeah.
lot of purple and pink and script.
Hmm.
Um, I try to avoid taking on clients like that because I don't enjoy speaking that language. I could, I just I just don't want to, and it is harder for me to connect with their ideal client and write to them.
Yeah, I mean, I think that speaks to something that I think a lot of people come up against, which is this feeling of like I should be for this audience or I should be like this rather than doing what actually feels natural.
Yes, yes, and I think that you're picking your ideal client, deciding who they are is way easier if you find somebody in your mind that you like. Think about a friend, like a best friend who, if everybody who came to me were like this person, my life would be bliss. My business would be complete play if that were the person who came to me.
So how do you deal with your like with fears that there's not enough of those people out there?
Um,
Do you
I
just
think that
just
there
squash
are.
them?
I squash them, squash them. I think that there are. I mean, if you are going for like kosher Jews who love lobster fests, then you're going to have a harder time. Don't make it
Or like
impossible.
gazillionaires with private jets.
Gazillionaires there are a lot of those. There are
Okay,
more
maybe
and
that was a bad
more.
example. Yeah, exactly.
Poor people with private jets.
Yeah.
That's going to be hard. I want, homeless people with private jets. Don't make it too hard for yourself. Don't
Yeah.
go there. But really, you're going really for somebody's worldview. What is their attitude towards the thing that you sell? How do they feel about it? That's the thing that you are writing to most. You don't have to call out like, oh, welcome to all 35-year-old young, moms of toddlers who love bananas. You don't have to, get that specific, but you can get into that person's head and think of them when you're writing, if that's your ideal client.
Yeah,
I hope that helps.
it does.
It's tricky. And the thing that I tell people the most is remember, we abbreviate ideal customer avatar as ICA. And I always say, remember the I in ICA. It is about who I most want to have in my business life. It's not, I don't think you should start with who's going to like this. I think you start with who do I want to make this for or do this for, and let that drive what you're doing to some extent.
Okay. I think that can be so scary though. I think especially when you're starting because you're like, I just want to make any kind of, you know what I mean? Like I just want somebody to want it.
Yeah. Yeah, but if you're making it for everybody, then it's for nobody. There's not a single company I can think of that is for everybody. I mean, we all look to Apple as like an iconic brand. Apple is not, iPhones are not for everybody. Some people have a Samsung. Some people have a flip phone. Some people have an IBM computer. Apple's not for everybody. Sears is not for everybody. Sears is for a value-oriented person who has probably limited money. They want convenience. They want to find everything all in one place. And they care more about value than they do about fashion, say, or the hottest, latest thing. Paris Hilton isn't going to Sears unless it's, on a lark for, ironically. Right.
Okay, I have one more question and then I'm going to let
Okay.
you continue. But the question is like, I know that like, how do you deal with gender? Because I guess I'm asking that because I feel like that's a situation where you start to get a little nervous. Like, am I, like, okay, say my ideal customer, which is actually pretty accurate, is, a spunky woman, late 20s, early 30s, who is looking for some sort of career change. But that doesn't mean I guess I feel like if I go for that, I will probably catch women, who are younger and older, but will I capture men? I don't know. It depends on how gendered the language is.
Exactly. How specific are you going to get about that in your language? If your site says like, "Hey girl, you're in the right place to learn everything you need to know as a woman about business," then you're going to get women.
Yeah.
But if you are picturing that woman who's your ideal customer when you write, you're probably going to write more naturally in words that she'll like, but you don't have to call her out constantly.
Right.
I'll give you an example though of a sort of a word switch that was made because of gender. Marie Forleo, with her product B School, it's now Marie Forleo's B School. It used to be Rich, Happy, and Hot B School. And more men started showing interest in it, but a lot of them were obviously staying away. They're like, that sounds kind of cool, but obviously it's for chicks and I'm a dude. And she, after a while, didn't want to exclude men. Her ideal customer avatar is still a woman. She's still gearing this to a woman because that helps her to get into the head of the ideal person who's coming to her. But she switched it from Rich, Happy, and Hot. She lost the Rich, Happy, and Hot because that was driving away too many men. And now a lot more guys join.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I think that's a good example too of somebody who, built a business to a very good, successful place while being very, because I remember this actually. I remember noticing that I felt like there was a video she had where she said to be a modern woman doing business online or something. It was like she did very specifically call out women.
Yes.
And I think that changed also.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's a good example of someone, like she did that at a much later stage in the business. Like it wasn't something that she did immediately.
Yes, she was very specific in the beginning, and I think that really helped build her audience and her fame. Being that specific attracted a lot more people.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm convinced.
Oh, go ahead.
I will be specific. No, go ahead. You go ahead.
No, I was going to say just another quick example. Back to Apple, I see these really annoying iPhone ads as for the new 6. And it's, you don't see their faces, but it's two dudes talking. And they're
it's so funny. The second you said this, I was like, I know exactly the ad you're talking about. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I hate them, but I think they're effective. I just, like these two guys, I feel like they're the two geek interns in the office who are then promoted to creative directors because they had this idea in the creative meeting. Anyway, but they talk about their iPhones in very much of a guy frame of reference. They're like, dude, you can play video games on it. Here's how you can be sarcastic. And they're like, here's how a dude uses this iPhone without saying it. It is not going to eliminate any women. Like, women are still, every woman I see on the street has an iPhone, and they buy the 6s. But they are marketing that specifically to a guy, not exclusively, but specifically. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. But why do you think they're doing that? Given that like such a big part of their audience is female.
I think they decided that's their biggest buyer. That's the person they want coming. Maybe they've decided, this is our ideal customer. He is going to buy this. He is going to tell his friends, dude, you got to get the big iPhone. You're a loser with that little iPhone. You got to get the big one. And they just use it to get in the head of a specific person, and it gives the ad a point of view. So I admire it for that. It has a point of view. And that's what having an ideal customer in your head can do for you.
Interesting.
Yeah. Oh, so what were you were going to say something? Do you still have it in your head? You said, I'm convinced.
Oh, I'm convinced that I should speak to one person. I feel like this is something I yo-yo back and forth on. Like, I know that it's right, but it's like believing it to the, you know what I mean? Like, it's like,
Yes, completely. But think of it like a conversation.
yeah.
I mean, right now, it's so much easier for me to be talking to all of you listening, because I am talking to Ada. Like, it just gets me more into my conversational body even, and it helps me be more me. Now that I'm thinking about all of you sitting there, I'm getting less natural. I'm getting a little bit nervous. So it just really helps to have one person in your mind and think of all your copy as a conversation with them. Okay.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay. So you just learned why it's so important to know who you're talking to. And with that in mind, I want to look at the first place on your website that that person is likely to meet you, which is your homepage. People get really stressed out about their home pages. Also, their about pages, but I want to start with the homepage. So I want to tell you 3 elements of a homepage that gets visitors to stick around and give you money or whatever you're looking for. And the first idea I want to start with is basically not just your homepage, but every page on your site has a mission, and that is get the visitor to do what you want in the words that they want to hear. Okay, so think about that person and what would bring them joy if they landed on your site. Like if they're looking for a virtual assistant, but your site says your business but better, they won't know what they're getting. You want to see something that makes it clear you're a virtual assistant. If they're looking for a life coach and the first thing they see is your hot and sassy headquarters, again, they're going to be like, what the F is this? Is this place porn? I don't know what I'm doing here. And they're going to leave, right? Because think about what the homepage is doing. This is like your lobby or your storefront. When visitors come in, you want to let them know where they are and why it might be the right place for them. So if they don't know that in an instant, they are gone, they're outie. If your page leaves them saying, what is this place? I don't get it. Even for a split second, like before they've even thought that, they are gone. So a homepage has to tell us, here's what this place is, here's who it's for, here's what you need to do now. Those are the 3 things. Here's what this place is, here's who it's for, here's what you need to do now. So I hope you won't think this is too vain of me, Ada. I'm going to share my site.
No, I'm literally sitting here being like, can I ask her to look at our site?
Oh, yeah. Do you want to look at your site?
I would no, to go do yours first, and then I would love for you to critique ours, because Leslie just told me I had to put myself on screen when I talk. It's so funny because it's like, it's like I could hear you talk about this. Like, I'll just rewatch this webinar every week from here on out, because it's never done. Like, right. I feel like it's like you think that you just like set it and forget it, but like we're always working on our homepage, which is why I'm begging you now to look at our homepage because we need to redo it, because I think we made the best effort given what we knew at the time that we did it. But
I actually, I will click over to it. I will put you at ease right now and tell you I think it's great. I've already looked, so I'll take a look over there.
But it can always be improved.
Always.
All right, but let's look at yours.
Yes. Mine's always evolving too. In fact, I just evolved it. I just redesigned it.
Yeah, it looks great, by the way. I was excited when it's always fun when you've been following someone's website for a while, and then it's like a present. Like, you're like, oh.
Well, you're welcome.
Thank you.
And my friend Michelle Martello did this, and she's amazing. She's both a developer and a designer, which I consider to be like a unicorn. Like,
yeah. Absolutely.
And she's incredible.
Okay, so now I'm going to pitch you an idea, because we have this web designer blueprint where we teach people web design and development, and I've been thinking about renaming it to Developer Designer Unicorn Blueprint.
Yeah, I mean, I love that. It really is.
We can test it.
Exactly. It's a mythical beast, and
but we're like, we're producing them here at Skill Crush. So I want to give people, I want them to know how special.
That's amazing. We need more unicorns. Okay, so all right. So here's what I have to tell you these 3 things. All right. So what is this place? It is my site. I'm Laura Belgray. It is for here's my tagline, copywriting, jumbo style. And that does not do everything that your traditional tagline does or wants to do. So on its own, it's just okay. But the reason I came up with it, and the reason I put it there, was because when I was first coming up with my site design and working with a designer, she said, what do you want there? Like, how do you explain the shrimp? It's a good question. So I put jumbo style. But it does say something, you know. It says that my copywriting has style, and it makes sense, a little bit of sense of the shrimp. Otherwise, you're like, what does that shrimp have to do with anything? You still might ask that, but anyway. And so then I have, to further help you see who this is for and what kind of copy I write, I have this scrolling thing that just, you know, that changes every couple of seconds. It's almost too fast to read. Now I see that now. But, you know, copy so light you'll forget you're wearing it. Copy that makes you a moolah magnet. Copy that says what you're thinking. Freaky. Copy that wakes the whole damn neighborhood. Copy that don't care about no stinking rules. So, okay, what were you gonna say?
So tell us a little bit, because I mean, I read this and I don't know if I'm your ideal customer, but it's hilarious and I love it. Who did you think about when you were, you know, designing?
I actually thought about a couple of different friends. Basically, anyone who's a fan of my writing. I wanted somebody who likes writing a copy that breaks the rules, who loves a little bit of wordplay, who isn't all about numbers or conversions.
Steps in its own abundance. Sorry.
Exactly. So that steps in its own abundance. I wanted somebody who, you know, that's a little inside joke, and my ideal customer gets it.
Yeah.
It doesn't leave anybody out. They might, you know, it goes a little too fast for them to be like, this isn't for me. This is to catch the eye of somebody who really enjoys all these kind of things and is a little bit savvy about copywriting, in the sense that they've seen it all and they want something that stands out and that's different and that's playful and isn't afraid to break the rules a little bit. So, you know, normally it doesn't just say copy that converts or, you know, copy that gets you more visitors. That's for a different person.
It's also not, right. It's not generic, which is nice. You know, like it really, yeah.
Right. It's not generic, and it's not for a generic person. And it's totally okay. Some people looking for a copywriter really just want what ROI are you going to get me? What is the return on my investment with you? Can you guarantee me more traffic to my site? Period. And this is more for people who care a lot more about their brand, creating an image, getting people to connect and fall in love with their brand, so they want to be customers for life. That's the thing that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
So then I have, here's what I want you to do now. Get the 5 secrets to non-sucky copy, because I know that the average visitor to my site is coming here not necessarily looking for a copywriter, but interested in what I do. Maybe they're coming from a blog post they saw, and they might be at the beginning of their business. They might not be ready to hire a copywriter, but they want better copy. So they're going to get on my list, because we all want to build a list. That's really important. So that's the first thing I have a person do here. If the person is here to hire me, they'll scroll down. They'll see this quote here from Marie Forleo, and they might be impressed by it. They might know, you know, my ideal person knows who Marie Forleo is and says, oh, damn, wait, did she write copy for Marie Forleo? Okay. And then they scroll down and they see 2 choices. Most of the site is geared towards the entrepreneurs. I have that, you know, on the right, it stands out a little more. A TV client will be able to see this and know exactly where they can go. An entrepreneur, person with a small business, will see this and know exactly where they can go. And they will.
So This
Go
leads
ahead.
me to one of my questions that I had written down, which is how do you deal? I was going to ask you how you sort of deal with writing for different audiences, but I feel like I guess what's interesting about this is that you actually have different offerings. It sounds like depending on audiences.
I
So
do.
maybe your voice doesn't change, or yeah, how do you sort of balance that?
Okay, so the two different audiences, the TV clients and the entrepreneurs, are very different people. The TV client usually probably works for a network, is in a corporate setting. The entrepreneur is probably at home, maybe in her pajamas. But what they have in common is the kind of voice that they're looking for. I want something that's a little edgy, maybe. I want something that stands out. I want somebody who can write funny, or can write with a little bit of edge. So that is where their worldview merges about what I do and what they're looking for. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it totally does.
Okay, great. All right, so now we're still on home pages. I am going to. All right, so here's the homepage for skillcrush.com. It doesn't matter where you live or what you do. Digital skills are job skills. Learn the in-demand skills that will get you hired. Okay, so this tells me right away that you teach digital skills. So I know what this place is. Who's it for? It's for somebody who wants a job, or someone who wants to make money. Like, I feel like the ideal customer here, if I'm to guess, is somebody who would really like to land, would like to be hired by somebody. That's what job skills tell me. Otherwise, it would say digital skills are business skills. And then it might tell me that it's somebody who wants their own business, or either. But so it doesn't eliminate people who want their own business, but it really calls out to somebody who needs a job or wants a better job. Learn the in-demand skills that'll get you hired. That's what they want. And then you tell me exactly what to do. Get instant access for free. Okay, so I kind of wonder, the one thing that is unclear to me, what am I getting instant access to?
Exactly. That's my biggest concern.
I would clarify that, because first of all, people are pretty stingy with their emails now. Like, our inboxes are all crammed with shit. Excuse my French. And nobody wants more stuff in their inbox. So you've got to really tempt them in order to get their email. So you want to give them something there that they must have right now. Get instant access to a world of new skills for free, or even more specific than that. What are they going to get here? What do they get when they sign up?
Awesome webinars with women with amazing copywriters like Laura Belgray.
There you go. I mean, you could even, it's really nice and spare as it is. I love the design, but you could put a couple of faces there, like one more line of something that tells them what they're going to get right away if they put in their email. I think it looks like they can look around. Yeah, it's not quite clear that they could also go to the rest of your site. I mean, this is building your list. The main goal of this page is to build your list, and so it seems to me that that's the most important thing for you. Otherwise, if the most important thing were to get them into your free 10-day boot camp, you would direct them to that. That would be their one job here. So it's great though. I love the simplicity of it, and I think it's really direct. If you just clarify that, I think it'll be good. Okay, and we're back. You have anything else to ask me about that, about the home page or those three things?
No, I'm sure there'll be lots of user questions. So.
Oh yeah, that's true. Okay, so now I'm going to get into the 3 biggest pitfalls of newbie copywriters and how to undo them or avoid them. And so pitfall number 1 is doing the robot. This is actually my husband's favorite dance move. Yeah, the people starting out usually make the mistake of confusing professional with formal. Your grammar does not have to be formal. Your writing does not have to be formal in order for you to project a professional image. It used to be that what people were really impressed by was formal corporate writing. They get a sales letter in the mail that said, like, "Dear valued vacuum cleaner buyer, enclosed, please find an important report detailing why you must buy the right upright vacuum cleaner." And it's all very, very formal and completely void of personality. So now what gets people's attention is writing that sounds like a person talks, right? Like anything that catches your eye, copy-wise, probably sounds like somebody just said it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I think the main problem is that when we sit down to write, we suddenly get into a different head and a different body, and our English teacher comes into the room and takes over and says, write proper grammar and spell everything out and blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to give you a really easy way to start getting more conversational with your copy. And this is something that only takes your pinky.
Okay.
I know that sounds way too easy, but okay, if you put your hands on your computer keyboard, you'll see that your pinky, if you extend it, your right pinky hits the apostrophe key. It's the one with the quotation marks at the top, apostrophe at the bottom.
Yeah.
The apostrophe is the mark that we use to form combo words like don't, can't, won't, it's, will, your, I'll, I'm, etc., which are short for you are, I am, it is, do not. And these are all words that, the contraction form is what we use in our speech every day, but when we sit down to write, the problem is that we switch into robot writing mode and we say, in a moment, I will teach you 3 things that you do not yet know about salsa dancing, and within 5 minutes, you will be dancing salsa like a champ. And so, the real way we'd say that is, next I'm going to teach you 3 things that you don't know about salsa dancing, and you'll be dancing salsa like a champ. But we forget to do that when we're writing. So the first thing to do is, when you're writing, look at it and read it out loud, and you'll notice yourself switching all of those words into more conversational form. You'll form contractions naturally. And the other thing you can do is go through your writing and look for those words that could be contractions. Best way to find them is by reading out loud, because you'll do it naturally. And just start putting in the apostrophe, making contractions from those words, and it'll be so much more conversational. I'd say 90% of my clients who come to me naturally write in formal, I am going to teach you voice, rather than I'm going to teach you. And it is such an easy way to transform your writing into something more conversational.
I think if I can add my own, just from my own experience, writing a lot of copy, we joke, or Leslie, who runs our sales and marketing, who you know, we joke about this thing called, sometimes I have to give her a beating with the Wii stick. And that is that I think it's really common for people when they're in a professional situation that they speak from the we.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's somehow you're like, it's we are doing this thing, but I think that's really alienating when you read it. It makes you feel very excluded from the we that's doing whatever it is that they're doing. So I'm always telling her, I'm like, there's too many we's in this sentence. We have to talk about me and you. And
I tend to agree. Yeah, I think it's great when it feels like it's coming from one person. I used to work with this guy who formed his own company, and I knew, everybody knew his company was from his house, just like mine is, but his answering machine said, hello, we're not here right now to take your call at Bungle and Bungle Productions, and he walked around with the president with a at any convention with a name tag that said, President Bungle and Bungle Productions. I guess we all do that now. We say we're president. But he always talked in terms of we and made it sound like he was coming from a big company and, well, our philosophy is blah, blah, blah. It's like, it's just you. It's okay. It's great that it's just you. So you're right. I agree. I like the we stick.
Yes.
And then for getting back into your natural voice, I mean, I have so many ways of doing that, and that's a lot of what we are going to be focusing on in the Copy Cure. Marie Forleo and I, we're going to teach you how to get into your voice, how to speak in a way that sounds like you, how to write in a way that sounds like you, and that will get people to buy what you sell. Right now, what I can do is direct you to, on my site, there is a resources tab. And on that resources page.
Can you show it to us?
Can I what?
Can you show it to us?
I can. That's what screen sharing's for, right? Okay.
Yeah. I know you have a PDF that I love, and I send it to all my team members who have to write for us.
Thank you. Yeah, they should definitely get my PDF. I happen to be very proud of it. Hold on, let me just... Okay. Now I should be able to share it.
Laura, I just want to be conscious of time that we have 10 more minutes.
Okay. All right. Let me.
And we have a lot of questions.
Okay. All right.
But we can go over a little bit. If you're okay with it, I'm totally okay with it.
I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. But I'll just show you where these are on my site, where it says these websites. I have a bunch listed that really help me find words. And like when I forget my own vocabulary, I go to them. Some of them are English as a second language sites, which are brilliant for reminding you what slang you use naturally. Because it completely, like sometimes it just abandons you, your own speech when you're writing. So
yeah, especially when you've been staring at it for too long. I think that's like anything, right? When you've just been like right here. I think it's also important to say that, like, I know this can, like, I'm listening to this and I'm like, oh, it's so much work. But having gone through it before and being excited to go through it a million more times, it's like, but there really is nothing. It's like, it's that first impression, It's like, if you blow that first impression, then none of the other work you've done matters.
Exactly.
So,
exactly. And yes, and first impressions are so quick now, especially when it comes to a website. People go on them. I think you have like 2 seconds or 0.2 seconds, some crazy short amount of time to make an impression and get someone to stay. Otherwise, they click away. So, I mean, nobody has patience for something they don't understand for even a second. So, all right, I'll try and get these quickly. All right, so pitfall number 2 is getting stuck in cliche quicksand. And this is like the quickest way to put us to sleep is to use overused, vague, cliche phrases, especially current, like trendy business ones, like step into your power, step into your abundance, or reach your fullest potential, or unleash your inner goddess, without anchoring them with concrete details. So here's the deal with details. They wake up everything that you write. They're like, I think of them as like a strong cup of espresso for your copy, or it's like a squirt of Visine, because they really catch the eye. So here's an example. Instead of, are you feeling overweight? How about you say, can't button your favorite jeans? That's a concrete detail that paints a picture, right? Instead of, do you long for financial freedom? We could say, wish collectors would stop calling you during dinner. Or, what if you could pay all your bills and still have plenty left over for that wine tour in Tuscany? Those are speaking to 2 very different people with different ideas of financial freedom. And it speaks to them way more clearly and specifically once we use those details. So I was going to use an example from your site. Let's see. All right, I'll find it on here. Sorry, I know we're back on your homepage. Okay.
I'm not complaining. It's great.
I know. Good advertising for you, right? Um, blueprints. Okay, this is the side I like. Okay, so I was going to just focus on one sentence here. So you say, unlock your true potential with our life-changing digital program. Now that copy is a little generic, but you anchor it with really good, specific, concrete details here. So you say, do you want to grow your side project into a viable business? This is one I really love. Wouldn't you love it if future employers sought you out, filling your LinkedIn inbox with contact requests? That is super specific. You could have said, wouldn't you love to be sought after by future employers? But instead, you've painted a picture of this full LinkedIn inbox, and that is speaking to a really specific person who can now imagine the life that they'd have with you. Like, oh, tons of requests in my inbox. So that's a really powerful detail, and those go such a long way to holding our attention and making us want what you got. All right. So I'm back. So that's details. And then pitfall number 3 is selling them what you think they need. So you may have heard the phrase, sell them what they want, give them what they need. And I really believe in that. A lot of us make the mistake of cramming the thing we want our customers to care about and to have down their throats, and they don't like that. They don't respond to it. So here's an example. Say you're a professional organizer and you're hell-bent on selling your customer clarity around her belongings. Like, she does not open her closet and think, oh man, I hate getting dressed. I wish I had clarity around my belongings. Right? She thinks, damn it, this closet's a mess. I wish it were like a neat little boutique. She doesn't say like, oh God, what I wouldn't give for clarity around my belongings in here. So yeah. You want to sell her a nice closet.
Yeah. This is where, and it's because you're not changing the service that you're selling. It's just how you articulate it.
Exactly. I mean, I have a client right now who was going to do a whole webinar about how to embrace the numbers in your business. And I was like, do your clients want to embrace the numbers in their business? Are they thinking, oh my God, I wish I could like give those numbers a hug? Or are they thinking about something else? And she's like, yeah, they're thinking about having more money in the bank now. Like, okay, there you go. That's what they want. You can show them how to embrace the numbers, but that's not how you're going to sell it.
Yeah.
So, another example is I saw a parenting website that promised to transform your timeouts. And I'm like, is that what a parent thinks about when their kid is having a meltdown at Chuck E. Cheese? They're not sitting there like, oh man, I wish I could transform my timeouts. They're thinking, why can't my kid be the well-behaved one? Like, totally. And why do I always have to yell? So like a line like, get your kids to behave like angels without yelling like an ogre, or something like that. That's just a starting thought. Doesn't have to be that. But that's what you've got to think about what the person wants. And then you give them what they need. So I like to give it the toss and turn test or the birthday candles test. The toss and turn test is, what are they thinking about in the middle of the night when they're like tossing and turning and can't sleep? What are they wishing for in their life? Or to put it differently, birthday candles test, what do they wish for every time they blow out their birthday candles? I mean, those are big life things. But like really in their head, what are they wishing for? Are they wishing like, oh, this year I really want to step into my abundance? No, they're thinking like, this year I want more money, or this year I want a boyfriend, or, this year I want everything to be easy. Not very specific, but it's not step into your abundance. So, so those are the 3 big copy pitfalls. I mean, there are 10 more, but those are great ones to start with. Go through your copy, or if you're starting to write your copy, and see if you're doing those, and how you can change them so that you are writing like you talk, using concrete details, and selling people what they want, not what you think they need. And that concludes.
Right. Yeah. Fantastic. Yes, exactly. So we have a ton of questions. So I'm really excited. So we are at time. So I just want to let everyone know that we're going to stay on for a little bit, and Laura's going to do some questions. So it's great because this Google question and answer, they can upvote. So I'm going to pick the one that's been upvoted the most.
Okay.
And that is from Melissa. And she asks, any suggestions for getting past the ooey gooey feeling that accompanies self-promotion? And I think this is a really good one because this is something that I definitely struggled with a lot.
Yeah. No, tell me about your struggle with it. Go ahead.
Okay, so I guess, so one of our big, I mean, I think just, getting into marketing, period, and this is something that, like, I did B school, and that was, like, a revolution for me just because it kind of opened the whole door. Like, I was a coder, so I was like, get HTML, buy now. Like,
I want HTML. So
exactly. So, I mean, that was a big insight for me, was realizing that people weren't necessarily going out and looking to buy like they're looking for skills, but they didn't necessarily have a specific skill in mind, right? Like, and if they did, it wasn't HTML. It was, I want to be able to build a website.
Yes.
That kind of thing. So I guess that doesn't necessarily speak to this ooey gooey feeling. I would say so there was an ooey gooey feeling of self-promotion, and I think I don't have an easy answer for that. That is just like, for me, it was as simple as it was like, was I going to be more uncomfortable self-promoting or going out of business? So, like, I was like, I'm going to go into this uncomfortable zone because I want to avoid this other more uncomfortable zone. But the one that continues to be hard for me is how to speak to, so if I'm dealing with somebody who has a job, like, how to sell it without overselling it.
Right. Okay, well,
like, for example, like your friend, with they want more money in the bank. Well, she can't literally put more money in their bank.
Okay, right. Okay, so we're dealing with several things here. One is, the fear of overpromising and bullshitting, which you definitely want to avoid. Why don't I start with the ooey gooey self-promotion thing? I think what kind of transformed the way I look at that was something that my friend Marie Forleo said, and she says it a lot in B school, just that if somebody needs what you have, and you don't do everything you can to let them know that you have the right thing for them, you're stealing from them. Like, I don't know if I've really internalized the stealing part, but I do think you're doing them a disservice. And I like to try and separate myself from it and think about what I have as the same thing as, if somebody said, do you know any great Italian restaurants, within a 3-block radius of here to eat? I would say, oh my God, yes, we have a favorite one. Here's the place that I go like at least once a week. It's amazing. If I know a place, I'm going to tell them, no problem. Like, would you ever hesitate to tell them about your favorite restaurant? Or would you ever hesitate to say to somebody, I just saw the best movie, I can't stop thinking about it, you have to go see it? You wouldn't, right?
Right. I think, yes, I agree with you. This has been something for me, like, when I get nervous about writing emails, I think about what is my relationship to my inbox. And of course, like, we all have this experience of clutter, so I think we have this fear that we're going to be annoying. But the truth is, like, I don't blame any single company for my email clutter, right? Like, I'm not going to read your email. I'm not, like, specifically angry about you for sending an email. I just kind of ignore your email. But if I want the email, I'm so excited to get it, right? So it's like, I feel like I tend to think that people operate from this place of, like, annoyance, but it's not.
Yes.
It's more of just like, I don't even know it.
Right, and sometimes it is, right? Sometimes it is annoying. I mean, some days I'm like, screw you, J. Crew. I don't want another email. But I don't unsubscribe because I know that some days I'm like, oh, yes, free shipping today. Or, oh, yeah, no, I don't know what clutch to bring to that cocktail party. So sometimes I'm really glad to have their emails, and I don't blame them for sending them every day. Because I know that they work, and, like, for every one of those emails, there's somebody who's like, oh, I'm so glad this landed in my inbox. Yeah,
and I feel like you have to operate from the place of, like, I have something that somebody like wants, and exactly, like, and I should give it to them.
Right, and that all comes from a place of believing that what you have is good. You have to. If you don't, then forget. I've got no advice for you if you sell something that you think sucks. But even if you're not confident about it, and other people tell you this helped me so much, then think about it from that point of view. Like, if it helps somebody so much, it's going to help someone else so much, and you don't want to deny them that benefit.
I
So,
agree.
yeah.
So,
Okay.
Melissa, I hope that helped.
Yeah, I hope so, Melissa.
So
Promote yourself.
we have another question from Love Light. And she asks, how do you come up with a tagline that captures your brand? What things should you consider when creating one?
Okay. So a tagline is like a whole other webinar, how to make one. But I think that you do have to relax about it a little bit, relax about it sounding perfectly clever and punchy. I think the most important thing about it is that it tells somebody what you do. And, mine does not do a perfect job. Again, I pointed at mine, which is copywriting, jumbo style. And if somebody asks me at a party what I do, I don't say copywriting, jumbo style. Yeah. I explain to them, I'm a copywriter. I do 2 kinds of copywriting. It's a little complicated. The ideal tagline says what you do, and you don't mind repeating it to people at a party. But I think it really, a tagline that says what you do is the best thing there is. And how to brainstorm it and come up with ideas for it is a whole other topic. But I would say a good template is, I do blank for people who blank. That's a place to start. So I might say, I write copy for people who want their businesses to have more personality.
I think that's good. Yeah, I mean, this also reminds me of, I feel like I meet a lot of entrepreneurs who really struggle with naming their companies.
Yes.
And I just always feel so bad for them, because I understand it feels so important, and it is important, but it's also it's such a stumbling block for people. And I'm always like, honestly, just name it.
Right.
If you have to rename it later, then you'll rename it later. There's a certain extent to which it's you can't get hung up on it for too long.
No, exactly. And, back to Apple. Remember when iPad came out and everybody was like, iPad, why not give it wings? Or MaxiPad, why not call it the non-tampon? Everyone had a whole bunch of sanitary napkin jokes. And they're like, this is never going to take off, biggest mistake Apple ever made. Everybody has an iPad. Everybody says iPad now.
Yeah,
nobody
and
says tablet.
laugh about it. Totally.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have to think about that. If you do a good enough job of branding, the name is irrelevant. So.
Okay, so we don't, I want to not go crazy over, but I have, and this is a kind of a big topic, but it's been upvoted a lot, so I'm going to let the people speak. So Laura has a question, which is, can you speak about putting together a solid About Me page on a website or blog?
Wait, can you speak about, first of all, I like that name, Laura, but I didn't hear the question. Can you speak
about putting together a solid About Me page or on a website, or just About Me or about pages?
Yeah, I can speak about that a little bit. I've seen a lot of templates, here's what an about page should say, hello, welcome, I do this for you. Have you ever, sometimes some people like to make it like a sales page. Have you ever felt this, 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 and this? Well, I'm just the person to do that for you because I've been through it too. That doesn't fit everybody's business. Mine happens to be just a FAQ page, because I like the questions that people have asked me. Some of them I made up, and it's just a framework for saying, here's what you need to know about talking shrimp. Basically, the About page, we all know it's it's maybe the most visited or second most visited page on your website. So it's really important. It's a huge opportunity to get people to do what you want them to do, whether it's buy from you or hire you. I think what you have to think about when you're writing your About page is, what does this person want to know about what I do? Do they want to know more about my personality? Is that going to help the person make the decision to work with me? So if so, maybe you just start with fun facts about yourself. You'll hear a lot of people say your About page is not about you, it's about the person visiting it. In a sense, I agree with that, because it is about what that person is looking to learn. But you do not have to make the whole About page literally about them. That's one way to go. You can say, hey, you're probably here because you're feeling this, this, and this. In that case, this is just the place for you, and here's why we do it. But there are a lot of tactics to take. You can say, here's why we do what we do. You can say, here are all the fun things to know about this place. I think you just have to get in the mind of what does this person want to know. So that's my best advice on a general scale. I think it's different for everybody.
I think that is very true. Okay, I'm going to do 2 more questions.
Okay.
So the second to last question is from Leisha, and she asks, what's the best way to write copy for Facebook ads? How do you pack a punch in a small dose?
Okay, that's actually not my expertise. I mean, I have done a few Facebook ads for people, but that's not something I can speak to in a couple sentences, except that you should study the Facebook ads that catch your eye and try to not copy, but emulate them. How do they get attention? Get into the head of somebody who is browsing their Facebook feed and think, what is going to make them stop? And, read the rest and click. That's what you have to think about. Great headline is key.
Yeah, it's really just a headline. It's a short one at that.
It's a short, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so we got one last question, and this one comes from Erin, and she says, I have to ask, is there a giant guy decal on the wall behind you?
A giant what?
A guy, how do you spell decal? This is one of those words that I feel like I read.
Oh, a decal.
Yeah.
That is not a stick-on thing. That's a painting, but it is a giant guy. And it may look like he has a pooch. I want to defend him and say that he is very lean. That's actually his arm. It's in shadow. But
I did think he had
He does not have a pooch. He is fit as hell. It's a painting based on. It was a series of paintings based on these breakdancing diagrams that were really tiny, and the artist, whose name is Joe Bradley, blew them up and did giant paintings based on these little positions. So that's like a hip hop pose.
Oh, nice. Look at that. Awesome. All right. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. So I just want to remind everyone to go check out Laura's site, talkingshrimp.com. There is an amazing amount of resources. Her PDF about, what's it called? It's called
5 Secrets to Non-Sucky Copy.
There you go. 5 Secrets to Non-Sucky Copy is not to be missed. It was a huge, it really was. I read it when I was starting to learn all these things and loved it.
Yay.
And there you can also find out a little bit more information about CopyCure, which also has its own website. Is that right?
It does have its own website. You can find it through my site, because I want you to go to my site, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
But you'll find it there. Go to the resources page, and it's right there at the top. You'll see it. It's the CopyCure.
Cool. And so there you can sign up to find out more about the CopyCure. And I know that I'm on the list to find out more. I know half my team is on the list. We're all really excited. Can't wait to sign up as soon as it's available.
Yes. And wait, I'll interrupt you to say that you should be getting them in your inbox. We send out tips every month or so. Another copywriting tip. So while you're waiting, you will get good copywriting advice.
Awesome. And anyways, otherwise it was just an absolute pleasure. I learned a ton in this webinar. I hope you guys did too. And, I think that this, copywriting paired with design and development skills that you're learning, you really have the full package to put together an amazing site for your business or yourself or your client. So, all right, well, have a wonderful afternoon, Laura.
Thank you
for joining us.
Thank you. So much fun. Bye-bye.
Bye.